Many travelers feel like something has changed at airports. Flights appear on time, boarding screens look normal, yet more people are arriving at gates only to hear boarding is closed, or they watch the door shut while the aircraft is still sitting there. In 2026, late boarding is happening more often than travelers expect, and honestly, it is rarely caused by one dramatic mistake. It is the result of how modern airline systems now manage time, risk, and efficiency. This means boarding may end while the flight is still listed as on time. From the traveler's perspective, this feels unfair. From the airline's perspective, it is necessary. Gate closure happens earlier than most people realize. Many airlines now close gates 10 to 20 minutes before departure. It's even earlier on international flights, and sometimes earlier when schedules are tight. Once the gate is closed in the system, it often just can't be reopened. Even if the aircraft is still right there, the jet bridge is attached, or the flight hasn't pushed back yet. So, boarding may not be possible. Late boarding is often a system limitation, not really a staff decision. Flights are scheduled more tightly than before. In 2026, airlines run tighter schedules. Aircraft are reused quickly, and crew rotations are optimized really closely. Delays cascade faster. When one flight is delayed, several others can be affected. To prevent this, airlines protect turnaround time aggressively, and late boarding is one of the first risks they eliminate. So, this really shifts responsibility to passengers to be present earlier. Boarding windows are, narrower now. Boarding is no longer a relaxed, rolling process. Airlines now board in defined groups, fixed windows, and controlled sequences. Missing a boarding window is actually one of the most common causes of late boarding issues. Gate changes are, honestly, way more frequent in 2026. Airports dynamically assign gates to manage congestion, which, well, makes things a bit unpredictable. When a gate changes, your walking distance may increase, and sometimes you might even need to transfer terminals. But, your boarding time might not actually change. Travelers who rely on old gate information often arrive late unintentionally. Just being inside the airport isn't really enough. You have to be at the correct gate, at the correct time. Yeah, that's what really matters. Security screening is, pretty unpredictable these days. Even travelers who plan well can run into things like random secondary screening, bag inspections, or equipment slowdowns, and if screening takes longer than expected, travelers often end up rushing. Rushing leads to missed instructions, poor timing, and, well, late arrival at the gate. Airlines don't delay boarding to wait for delayed passengers. Late boarding just becomes unavoidable once security delays start to stack up. It's, honestly, something travelers need to be prepared for now. Many travelers assume assistance services will adapt to delays, but in 2026, assistance is scheduled tightly. If a traveler did not pre-book assistance, arrives late to the assistance point, or experiences a delay earlier, well, they may not reach the gate in time. Assistance teams cannot always respond immediately. This disproportionately affects seniors and travelers with mobility needs. Airports now rely heavily on visual displays, app notifications, and automated updates. Announcements are quieter and more targeted. Travelers who rely only on audio cues often miss changes. Sitting away from the gate increases the risk of missing boarding calls. Late boarding often begins with missed information. Overhead bins fill quickly. Once bins are near capacity, airlines move faster to finish boarding, close doors, and finalize the load. Late arrivals complicate bin space. Rather than reopen storage or rearrange bags, airlines close boarding. This protects safety and timing, but increases denied boarding incidents. Late boarding can really feel personal. Travelers often think, hey, others boarded after them, or maybe the staff could have waited just a bit, or that one more minute really wouldn't make a difference. So, why is this happening more often now? Well, several trends have kind of come together. Flights are fuller, schedules are tighter, penalties for delays are higher, there's more automation, and staff have less discretionary authority than before. All of these changes together just reduce flexibility. It's not that late boarding is happening more because travelers are worse, it's actually increasing because honestly, the systems are just stricter now. So, let's talk about the role of automation in late boarding. These days, boarding systems now automate a bunch of critical steps, like gate closure, passenger counts, and load confirmation. It's all become pretty streamlined, honestly. But, here's the thing. Once a system moves to the next phase, reversal is, really difficult. Gate agents often can't override automated closure even if they want to help out. Now, let's see how small timing errors add up. Late boarding is rarely caused by one big delay. It's usually the result of, well, a few extra minutes at security, a longer walk than expected, a missed screen update, or maybe just a quick pause to reorganize bags. All these little things, they add up over time. So, here's the thing. Being early to the airport, well, it's just not enough. A lot of travelers show up early, but somehow, they still end up boarding late. This usually happens when time gets eaten up by things like resolving bag issues, reorganizing documents, searching for food, or just waiting somewhere away from the gate. In 2026, it's really important that your time is spent moving toward the gate, not just hanging out comfortably somewhere else. Gate presence, honestly, matters a whole lot more than just being present in the terminal. Now, let's talk about how prepared travelers avoid those last-minute scrambles. They make it a point to be at the gate before boarding even starts. They'll pick a seat where they can see the gate, keep an eye on the screens at all times, and board as soon as their group is called. Plus, they always assume that boarding could close early so they're never caught off guard. Prepared travelers don't wait around for final calls. For them, boarding time is a real deadline, not just a suggestion. So, what should you do if you arrive late to the gate? Well, if you get there and it looks like boarding is already closed, try to remain calm. Listen carefully to any instructions from the staff and, yeah, it's important to accept that your options may be pretty limited at this point. Honestly, arguing or pleading almost never changes the outcome. Once the systems are closed, staff members usually just can't reopen them, no matter what. Why this will continue beyond 2026, airline trends indicate continued high demand, continued schedule pressure, and continued automation. Late boarding will remain common. Travelers who adapt expectations experience fewer surprises. Final reminder, late boarding in 2026 is not about bad luck, it is about timing under strict systems. The flight being on time does not mean boarding is flexible. In the next video, we will move into what airlines check that passengers never notice, and how those checks affect boarding decisions quietly behind the scenes.